talking for most of the way, so I'm going to set the microphone down now. Let the scenery take over. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the views, talk amongst yourselves. If you do have any questions or concerns, just raise a hand or shout those out. Your crew here, we will do our best to help you out. And I'll pick up this commentary a little bit closer back to that Waterton town site. Thank you for your patience.
When there's no hope is left in me, I can see what comes my way, and I'm always lost. There's nowhere else to go. All I do is fall. Feels like I can make it more than I could bear. Giving up is all that I can surrender to you. Take me in your arms and hold me. With your love, find my rest, and I can see you lead me. You make me hope again. Your love is all I ever need. Never knew this love can make my heart beat. You hold my world again. Your love is all I ever need. No one else will fill my heart like you do. And there's no more fears left in me. I can see you light my way, and you're
Good
always.
afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good
Hi.
thumbs up. Everyone's ready? Welcome aboard the Roddy Paul. That's the name of this vessel. We're going to be cruising for about an hour and 15 minutes here this afternoon, the upper Waterton Valley, so just straight ahead of us. And the smoke is actually lifted a little bit. Earlier today it was even smokier. You could hardly see those mountains in the south end. You picked a good time of day to come out here on the lake for a boat ride. 2 p.m. cruise. And if you look just a little bit off the left-hand side, you see a channel, some green and red colored buoys and markers. That's the entrance to Middle Waterton Lake. There's 3 different lakes out here, upper, middle, and lower. And we're cruising on the upper lake today. This is the deepest natural lake in the Canadian Rockies. About 11 kilometers in length. We'll be going about 2/3 of the way down here this afternoon. And along the way, we're going to cross the border. We're going to cross into the United States of America, the state of Montana, and Glacier National Park. So show of hands, who has their passports with them? Nobody. One guy. Not to worry, today you won't need those passports. And the reason for that, this is the world's first international peace park. So we'll have to cross that border, no questions asked. We just have to stick to the waterway. We're not permitted to land at the south end. That's due to the border closure, the pandemic. Their ranger station is still closed. So hopefully that changes soon. Now before we get going too far here, I am required by Transport Canada to give a brief safety talk. So the name of this boat, as I mentioned, this is the Roddy Paul, licensed for 48 passengers. Life jackets, we have 50 of those stored just on either side of the bench seating in the main cabin. Children and infant life jackets up at the front by me. And the boat is fully equipped with firefighting first aid equipment. We've got 4 life rings on the upper deck. And there's one big white barrel up on the roof. That's an inflatable Zodiac life platform. So that's capable of holding 75 people. In the unlikely event that we were to sink here this afternoon, we would simply deploy that, get everyone safely on board. I would hand out some paddles, and from there the tour would continue. We'll paddle you around the lake. We're going to get you your money's worth one way or another this afternoon. You have a crew of 2 on board. Captain up here at the helm, this is Captain Steve. So everybody say hi to Steve. You picked the best boat to be on because this is the best captain in the fleet. He's been driving for this company for 36 years. So the most experienced captain. And my name is Chris. Now I grew up in this Waterton town site. I've climbed every mountain in the park. So between me and Steve, we have a wealth of knowledge we'll be happy to share with you folks. If you have questions throughout the trip, just raise a hand or just shout those out. And we'll come back to you. We'll try and talk about things that interest you folks. I'll point out some of the highlights and the features of the area, give you some basic information. The good news is I'm not going to talk for the whole trip, so I don't want to ruin your afternoon by blabbing away too much. I like to let the scenery do a bit of the talking out here as well, especially on a beautiful day like this. I'll do a figure 8 pattern today around the lake, so both sides will get equal shoreline viewing opportunities. And your only job, the Kenau Mountain wildfire blazed through this national park. One of the most devastating forest fires in park history. It burned approximately 70% of all forested areas in this national park. So it started from a lightning strike. Those strong winds pushed it up over the Continental Divide into this national park. It blazed through in a single night, 80km/h winds, fueling and fanning that fire into a raging inferno. So it's a miracle that the town site back behind us is still standing. A very well-coordinated and heroic firefighting effort to save that town from what seemed like certain destruction. All the locals were evacuated. No human lives were lost in that forest fire. Approximately 44 mammals, large mammals, were found, carcasses from that forest fire, which is pretty good considering the population numbers. In the days preceding that fire, we saw animals swimming across the width of this lake to get to them. So when the osprey re-emerges, that's when the bald eagle swoops in and they'll have a battle. Normally the bald eagle is a stronger, larger bird. The largest bird of all in this park, the trumpeter swan, closer to a 7-foot wingspan. And they're migratory birds, so we'll just see them passing through in the spring and the fall months. Snow white in color, in size. Boundary Valley.
Yeah, there is a line. We're in
And now take a look off the left-hand side for a closer view of that cut line. You'll see a marker, stone obelisk here at the bottom. And there's actually one on the top of this mountain, Mount Boswell. When that lines up in front of you, you have a surveyor's perspective of the 49th parallel. So the border between Canada and the United States of America.
yeah. Yeah. So we're in the middle now.
We're US now, yeah.
So there you have it. Just crossed into the United States, the state of Montana, Big Sky Country, the backdoor entrance into Glacier National Park. So is it anyone's first time into the United States? Welcome.
Welcome to US.
Quite the border crossing, no passports, no customs check, no questions asked. The reason for that, as I mentioned at the start of the trip, this is the world's first international peace park. So in 1932, that's when that happened, the Rotarians of Rotary International from both Alberta and Montana lobbied to their respective governments with the slogan, "Nature sees no boundaries." That is an excellent slogan to go by. After all, we're the only ones out here who recognize those borders and cut lines. The trees don't stop growing, and the bears are not taxed on the amount of berries they bring back and forth. This is all one ecosystem. Everything out here is intimately connected, and these two parks have done a great job preserving this area for future generations. So that one day some of the kids on board can come back with their grandchildren and see this area the same ways we're seeing it now. We do have a little bit more time to spend in the national park. There's a great walking path that goes along the beach, all along the lakefront. And that almost encompasses the entire town. That'll take you by a scenic waterfall called Cameron Falls, nestled right in the
Yeah,
heart of town.
Cameron.
So if you haven't been there already, be sure to check out that waterfall. You can drive right to the base of it as well, so it is easily accessible. And then we have a few scenic drives, so Red Rock Canyon and Cameron Lake, I'd highly recommend. Those drives will take you probably between 30 and 40 minutes, depending on the traffic. But along both ways, lots of scenic viewpoints, pull-offs, hiking trails. Up at Cameron Lake, they have paddle boat rentals, canoes, kayaks, paddle boards, and it does tend to be a little bit calmer up at that Cameron Lake. And Red Rock Canyon, that's where all that argillite, that red-colored rock is found. You can walk right around the canyon, and there's a short hiking trail out there called Blackiston Falls, which I'd recommend. It's only about 1 kilometer long, nice flat trail. You can walk out. They just rebuilt the viewing platform, so you can stand out over this canyon and look down on another scenic waterfall. And then there's the Chief Mountain Highway. That's on the east side of the park. Normally that would take you into Glacier National Park. And that borderway is still closed, so you can't go the entire way, but you can go part way. It is a scenic drive through some of that last old growth forest. And the Bison Paddock, which I mentioned on the way down, just on the northern boundary of the park. So past that park kiosk, turn left towards Pincher Creek, and still within the park boundary. You can drive right through the paddock, try and spot the bison. Another short, steep, but rewarding hike is the Bears Hump. That's ahead of us off the left, this rounded off portion hovering above the back in 1926, 1927. So take a look through those big front windows. The hilltop view will give you an excellent view of the Middle Waterton Lake, which is just off our right, back through the channel. And if anyone's hungry or thirsty, take a walk down the main street in that Waterton town site. All sorts of options to choose from. Trapper's Mountain Grill, that's one of the local favorites, and they do have the coldest beer in town. There's the Thirsty Bear Kitchen and Bar, Lakeside Chop House. Just take a wander around. Everything in town is within walking distance. You'll find gift shops, ice cream parlors, restaurants. There's alpine horse riding stables, a golf course in the area, and bike rentals over at Pat's gas station. So lots of activities. If you're spending the evening, go for a walk around sunset. The last light of the day creeps up these mountains. A real reddish glow hangs to those craggy summits. That's called alpenglow. That's a beautiful time of evening to be out. And then once the sun sets, the stars come out. If it clears up, be sure to get away from the street lamps and take a look up for some stargazing opportunities. Now, as we do get ready to pull back into this Waterton Marina, I'm just going to ask everyone to hold their position, and we will give you the signal when it is safe to disembark. So on behalf of your captain, Steve, myself, and our company, Waterton Shoreline Cruises, we would like to thank all of you folks for coming out here with us this afternoon. We'd like to wish you all a pleasant stay here in Waterton Lakes National Park. Safe travels wherever they may take you. If you do have any further questions, I'll be standing at the back as you disembark. I will be happy to help you out. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day in the National Park, folks. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, bring you up. Yeah, come on.